Welcome back, friends! Boy, it's been a while since we've stepped foot into the menagerie. Sorry about that. Last time, the wheel deemed it necessary to build on a sculpted terrain map in the tropical Asia area. We started with some simple and barren builds for our North American beavers and our Kawaka Trail to help us bring in the guests and their wallets to help fund the wonderful glow-up these two habitats deserved. Then we went right in with a few more habitats, adding animals like the fennec fox, our noisy Indian peafowl, our adorable African wild dogs, and our floofy Siberian tigers, to name a few, as well as a few exhibit animals. What in the world will our wheel have in store for us today? Shall we go and see? First, I want to try and set up one of these walking tours. I don't normally use these. I think the one and only time that I have ever used these was in the career level when it came out with the DLC and the update that introduced them. So first I'm going to build a small stopping point for our tour group to meet up before heading out on their tour. I'm going to be pretty much copying the same style as our little shop stalls over here, keeping the theme for the front area. And let's put tours on here. There we go. Now people will know exactly where they need to wait for their tour. Perfect. Now I'm going to place several of these around the zoo. Now I don't want to link too many of these together because I do believe that the educator does get tired in between these stops, so you can't just have them do the whole zoo all in one go. They might quit. And now we wait. Yep. Any minute now they're gonna come rolling in here. Any minute. Or not. So sorry, my guy. No one wanted to come to your tour. Maybe next time, friend. I'm gonna leave this and just assume that it's gonna work for now. To our first spin, what will the mighty wheel give us today? The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. Ooh, a danger noodle from my own backyard. And for our building themes, let's see what we are going to be rolling with today. The first one is North Africa, and for the next we got Festival. What is with getting these accent-only building piece themes for our poor exhibits? Oh well, I can make this work. I always do. I'm going to squeeze this box in here between our attics and our African wild dog habitats, and I'm not going to be making an expanded exhibit this time. Am I ill? What's wrong with me? No, I am just not terribly inspired by these building themes, that's all. First, I am going to frame out the box with plaster pieces that have these nice cutouts, and for the accent pieces, I'm just going to fill in these holes around the sides and the back with these pretty blue wooden pieces. I'm then going to add education, a simple roof, and the last thing I'm going to do is doctor up the two sides with some desert landscaping. That should bring the guests over here. And there we go! Our first build is done and dusted. The Western Diamondback Rattlesnake is a venomous snake native to southwestern United States, extending from California to Arkansas. Known for their distinct diamond-shaped markings, these snakes typically grow about 3 feet in length, although some have been known to reach about 6 feet. The species is ovoviviparous, with females giving birth to live young after a gestation period of about 3 to 4 months. More people are bitten by the diamondback rattlesnake than any other venomous or poisonous snake in North America, probably because all the other real bad ones live in Australia. However, even with that fact, more people are still killed each year by lightning than by being struck by a venomous rattlesnake. Look at this person. She just pickpocketed someone and is now being chased. Oh, and look at her. Now she's hiding in the merch line to use that stolen money to buy something for herself. I love how the security guard is just letting her do it. They're on the radio like,
"Yeah, boss, she stopped at the Just a Momento booth. What should I do?"
And Manager Bison is like,
"Hold. Let them spend money, then kick them out."
"Copy that, sir."
That is exactly what they're doing too. Look, now she's being kicked out. Yeah, you get out of here. I hope you enjoy your souvenir magnets. Walk of shame. Walk of shame for you. Not shameful enough. We need more eyes on her. I have an idea. There we go. Now everyone sees you in your shame. Oh, and our tour is touring. Look at them go. Him with his little owl sign. How cute! I'm so glad that it's working the way that it's intended. And this guy is super stoked to be here. That's a wallaby kid over here. Oh. Oh. I might need to move that sign. That's a very knowledgeable wall. Gotta love Planet Zoo and its quirks. Although, to be fair, This is a me problem. This is my fault. I did this. Alright, we're all warmed up and ready for the wheel to deliver me something good. Something African spurred tortoise. Ooh, I love these little helmets with legs. Look how cute they are. And for our themes, please wheel, I'm begging you, give me something good. Africa, oh, full stop. I can work with that. And East Asia. Oh, wheel. You shouldn't have. Buttering me up for something, are you? And I'm going to continue building off these African buildings that I already have in place down here for our addicts and our African wild dog. Past Panda was good to me. She even left me a little side door. I'm going to be using the PVC strips for our door. And then I'm going to spend some time putting up these little accent wood pieces. I'm really trying to expand my building skills here. And it really does just take doing one small thing different with each and every build. On the inside here, I'm going to place down some of these wood panels so that way I have a place to anchor this little habitat gate for these guys. And then I'm going to add a keeper hut here to take down some of the walk time for the animals that are on this side of the zoo. Since these are tortoises, the fence is going to be super complicated, super high tech. Nothing's getting through here. This log. No, that's it. It's just gonna be a log. I know. I'm asking a lot of you, and this is really complicated. But if you really try hard, you too can place a log like me. It just takes practice. I want to make a little pool here so that way they can sit and just kind of marinate during the day. But I don't want it to be too deep. I still want them to be able to completely walk along the bottom. So I'm going to use just one section of this pre-made pool that I got off the workshop by this creator here. Love them. I am just going to select one and use angle snap, and I'm going to spin it around until I can complete the circle. I am then going to mess with the terrain paint all around and doctor it up the way that I think that they're going to like it. We can do some tweaking once they're in here if I need to. And I'm also going to add in some habitat items, food, water, enrichment, you know, all the good stuff. And now I'm going to add in some rocks on the sides of these little hills. I don't want to add too much since they have little legs and I don't want to cut off too much of their habitat walking space. I'm also going to use rocks to hide this underground burrow entrance and try and make it look more realistic. And then for foliage, I'm just going to put a few smaller stumps and shrubbery and plants. Nothing crazy for our little bulldozers with legs. Now it is time to put our new friends into quarantine and wait for their health checks to be completed. Let's throw our new friends in here and just look how cute they are. Like a weird, slow-moving tortoise centipede. Don't worry, they'll make it. We cannot rush perfection here, people, okay? They will go at their own pace. Something about the tortoise and the hare. Who won in that race, after all? And there they are! We better check their habitat, though. Oh, and look at that. First habitat of the day, and we are all in the green. And there's no way for them to escape. Could you ask for anything better? But it doesn't look like I can get in their pool. Oh, that's sad. But if that's the only problem, I'll take it. I probably just need to make it a little bit of an easier slope for them to get into it. African spurred tortoises are the third largest tortoise species. They will continue to grow in size until about 10 years of age. And then they'll stop growing by the time they're 15 to 20 years of age. These tortoises are very aggressive with each other. Males will fight for females by ramming themselves into their opponent in an attempt to flip them over. And to create a nest, a female tortoise will dig a divot in the ground. She may create up to 5 nests before selecting the one that she wants to lay her eggs into. And after selecting that nest, she will lay roughly 1 egg every 3 minutes until 15 to 30 eggs have been laid. The eggs will then be buried and incubate underground for about 8 months. And did you know, these tortoises can survive without water for weeks and can drink up to 15% of their body weight in just one sitting. That's a lot of water. And by the way, maybe you should drink some water too. I should drink some water. We should all drink water, she says as she sips on sweet tea. I want to add some food options and a bathroom here, but since the ground isn't quite flat, it does make it a little bit hard to put a plaza in using the Align to Grid path tool. So I'm going to make an L shape with my path, and then I'm going to go into the corners, place a piece of path, and then right click to take it away, over and over and over again, and that will make this path area grow into a little plaza. You can have plazas wherever you want, promise. This is also how you can round the corners of your paths. If you didn't know, then I guess that is your panda tip of the day. You're welcome. For our food and drink, I'm going to add in these wonderful food trucks that I found off the workshop by this creator here. They have a truck for every shop. How adorable. And since the donut shop doesn't sell coffee too, I'm going to also put down a coffee truck. Who doesn't sell food and drink in the same shop? I don't know. And with this added coffee shop, I'm going to also add a toilet so people can go to the loo after their coffee. It's inevitable. And I'm also going to sink in a cooler since it is so dang hot today. 108 degrees. It's like, what, 40 Celsius? I don't know about you, but you won't catch me outside at the zoo if it's that hot outside. I'm also going to fan out some of these canopies, and that will make it look more like an umbrella for the tables. Stay out of the sun, guys. The sun is not your friend. It ages you. Back to the wheel, it is time to roll again, and we are going to get the striped hyena. And I know now that this is not a dog. Although, it really does look like a good boy, doesn't it? So I do understand the confusion. And for the themes, we got rustic and aquatic. Okay, wheel. Okay, I see what you did there. It is laughing at me for being so excited before. Bet, wheel. Bet. I can make this work, don't you worry. First, I'm going to lay out a shell for the keepers and the hyenas. I'm using the grid and the building pieces that came with the aquatic DLC. These are flex colored pieces, so I'm going to be coloring the whole building into more of this sienna color that I have for this first piece here. Flex color building pieces are really the way to go. I hope that we get more of that in the next game. I'm going to attempt to make a bit of a backstage area. I'm not the best at remembering to do this, so here we are trying new things, okay? This door is going to be where the keepers will actually be dropping off our new hyenas. And this area right here outside the door will be a nice covered little sleeping spot for them. I'm going to go off theme and use some mesh to fill in the spots between the wood pieces here. Mesh never counts for theming, okay? Mesh and glass, I can always use those. Then I'm going to use some of these rustic fence posts to line our door area here, and with angle snap on, I'm going to angle some more mesh to make it look like these doors are propped open so the hyenas can actually go through the rest of their habitat freely. And I'm also going to go off theme here and use the European marquee beams. Sometimes you have a vision, and we'll be damned, you are going to make that vision happen by framing out your mesh the way you want to. Just kidding, Manager Bison, I love you. Please don't punish me. This is what our gate is looking like all done, and now that I'm editing this, I realize that I should have went in with some of those rustic fence handle pieces to make handles for these doors. Oh well, next time. Next time, it's fine. Now it is time to recolor everything. It looks so much better in this more orangey brown color, especially on this side of the zoo where our more African theme is. Now I'm going to be placing down a floor for our keepers that I'm going to be recoloring to black. And I'm also going to be putting in our barrier door so we can see how it fits here. And as you can see, there is a pretty big gap over the door, but don't you worry, we can cover that with a non-grid piece. Just recolor it to the same color as your wall. Make sure all the lines are lined up and no one will know the difference. Now, let's make a fence. Since we are on a sculpted terrain map, the ground is super uneven. So in order to make a straight fence, I'm first going to lay down a grid piece. I'm then going to separate that grid piece from this grid here, so it's on its own grid now. This piece will get deleted in the end. I'm just using it as my foundation to build on. First, I'm going to use this rustic wood fence post as my first piece. And after putting that into place, I'm going to use angle snap and duplicate it to make another one of those posts that I can rotate 90 degrees and have it lay down flat. I'm going to then duplicate that and move it to the top. Now, I don't believe this is going to be quite tall enough for safety, so I'm going to actually double that. Back to the mesh I go to fill in the middle of this with mesh pieces, and then I'm going to duplicate the horizontal wood pieces to stretch them over to complete the fence. Don't forget to merge it all into a group so it's easier to move around. And now, I am just going to place this around the front of the habitat. I'm going to use some rocks to help break up the fence a little bit and have a nice place to put down our education boards with some donation bins without blocking any sightlines. Now that our fence is in, let's do a neat transition to add in our habitat items and then our rocks. And of course, last but not least, our foliage. Now let's go get our hyenas, shall we? Just some ladies on the market. If I remember correctly, hyenas have a female hierarchy and multiple females are bad news, so yeah, 1 female, 6 males. So I'm gonna have to wait for the market to refresh and hope we get at least 1 boy here. And aren't you lucky? You didn't have to wait long at all, did you? A boy showed up. Lucky you. Let's go ahead and buy this guy up and put them in their new home. And here they come out of their little boxes. Oh, look at their little mohawks. They're so cute. I love them already. And what? All in the green again? Dang, I am on a roll. Maybe I am a professional after all. Working with the terrain, we were able to put in this very cute hyena habitat for our newly striped hyenas. I think it turned out so good. I try not to go too crazy on the foliage and the rock work, mostly because I want this zoo to keep chugging along until year 100. I really like the way this gate and sleeping area turned out for them. Like I said, I really want to try and make more backstage areas. I usually don't worry about it, but seeing other YouTubers builds has me wanting to push my building style for sure. What do you guys think? Do you normally make backstage areas? Do you have places designated for your keepers to put animals inside their pens? Let me know. I'm curious. Hyenas are the most common large carnivore in Africa, and hyenas are neither members of the dog or the cat family. They are unique, and so they have their own name, Hyenidae, which has 4 members: the striped hyena, the laughing spotted hyenas, brown hyenas, and the aardwolf, which is not a wolf. These animals are sometimes referred to as the scourge of the Serengeti. However, their cleanup work is important. The striped hyena is smaller, shyer, and less social than the more well-known spotted hyena. While striped hyenas are primarily scavengers, larger individuals have been known to hunt and kill their own prey, including relatively large prey such as sheep or goats. And unlike their noisy, cackling cousins, striped hyenas are generally silent creatures. They communicate primarily through scent markings, subtle body language and postures, soft growls, and distinct walking patterns that signal territory. The striped hyena's loud call, a cackling howl, is rarely heard in the wild, but those instances are very uncommon compared to the social chaos of the spotted hyena communities. Alright, Wheel, don't do me dirty, okay? We got this. Give me something good. The timber wolf, or the gray wolf. Oh, now there is a good boy right there. And the themes we're going to be building with is New World and Arctic. No Fiesta. So basically we're building with New World. Got it. I'm going to put them back here by our tigers, and I'm going to use the same trick to make a straight fence like I did with the hyenas by placing down a grid piece first to use as our foundation of straightness. Then I'm going to bounce between some fence ideas. Your girl was struggling here. A lot was edited out. I start with the Fiesta ironwork window guards and place that down horizontally, and then I'm going to use one of these vertical wood plank roof pieces on the side of the fence, followed up with the smaller version of the Fiesta ironwood window guard for the top of the fence. I'm telling you, I was struggling. So I'm also going to be placing a New World wall decorative panel, and I'm going to maneuver this in the middle of the ironwork fence and push it down. And in this space here, I think I finally decided on some glass. I really did spend about 30 minutes just making this fence, so... And you will see by the time that I'm done, I don't even use it. No, seriously, I don't. I think I covered most of it up, actually. But that's okay. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're on a journey together here. Now that it's done, it's all merged into a group, I'm going to start laying it out in front of the habitat. Just the front. The whole back is going to be rock work. I'm now noticing when I build for wolves, I always seem to make an elevated viewing area. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I am the way that I am, but I am going to go for it. And trust me, this one took a long time. I fiddled with this path for a long time trying to get it right. Now I'm not naming any names, but I have been playing some other games that might be coming to the channel. I don't know, but I like that pathing system way more. And I'm hoping beyond hope that it is being brought over to Planet Zoo too. Anyways, for inside the hole in the floor here, I want to add some glass so the guests can look down on the wolves, which I will be adding some bedding down there. I don't know if the wolves will actually sleep down there because I'm also planning to make them a cave, but I figured I would try. Now, using the New World building pieces here, I'm going to frame out this whole viewing house. Nothing too crazy here. And we're going to have to use 2 grids since our stairs don't actually line up with any sort of doorway that I can use here, but that's okay. More about that later. And don't you worry, I can see you fretting over this. I'm gonna add some supports, okay? I can hear you yelling about it already. No one likes floating buildings around here, huh? And I absolutely love these wolf-etched glass panels, and I want to use them here for sure. Pretty sure they're from the New World DLC that brought in the timber wolves, so these are perfect. And now that those are placed, I'm going to finish off this viewing house with some more glass paneling all the way around. And see, this is what it's looking like right now. Now I'm going to work on the other grid to finish framing out this whole viewing house, starting with the door and working my way to the 2 sides. I do need to use some non-grid pieces to help fill in these last spaces that are much smaller than the traditional grid wall. And to further fill this in, I am just going to double up on the pillars. Probably not the best way to fill in this hole, but it's what I'm gonna do. Inside the viewing house, I'm going to add a few different education boards and a speaker to help people in here get educated while they're looking at our little pups from way up here. Now, the last thing that we need to do to finish this off is to fill in the roof. And since this is not fully built on the grid, this is not going to fully cover it, so I'm going to have to build quite a bit of an overhang on the backside here. But once the whole roof is built, I'm just going to select the whole thing, pull it off the grid. It's gonna have its own grid too. And then I'm going to use X for advanced movement so that way I can pull it forward and create a bit of an overhang here in the front instead, and have a smaller overhang in the back. Now all there is left to do is to cover up the top part with the appropriate building pieces for the front and the back. And for the front, I'm going to name it. I love the letters, but I need more of them. This is our Timber Wolves viewing house. Perfect. If you group them together, it makes it really easy to duplicate them, offset them ever so slightly, and then you can color the back one black, or any color really. I just like to use black to give it more of that bubble letter effect. I'm going to place a few of my golden wolf statues down here as placeholders for what I'm going to do later in this area. And I don't want to forget to add the bedding down here under the viewing house. I hope that they do come and sleep down here sometimes. First, I'm going to fill in the rest of the barrier just with some rocks, nothing too complicated. There will be no other viewing besides the viewing house for the wolves. Over here on the end is where the keepers are going to be able to enter the habitat, so I'm going to make sure that I cover that with some rocks to help blend it into the back wall and prevent any of our wolves from escaping. For the den, I'm going to be using this one that I found on the workshop by this creator here, and since the bedding was down so much lower than where I actually wanted the den to be, I have to pull out the bedding, fix the terrain, and then we'll put the bedding back inside. And I want to add some coolers in here to help keep up with all this snow, but it seems like I'm having a bit of a power problem. I think I just need to add some additional solar panels over here, and then I'm going to paint in some snow in some areas of that around the habitat, and I'm going to also use this snowy rock set by this creator here that I found on the workshop to add a little more dimension to this build. Sinking some into the sidewalls too to also make it look like the snow has rested in some of the natural formations of the rock. For foliage, I am not going to add too much more than just a few dead trees and some of these nice pretty yellow pines, and finishing it off with some much needed habitat items. Lots of food enrichment and lots of toys for them to play with. Now let's do a nice glow up for our entrance. And see? I told you I was gonna cover up those fences in the background. I don't even know why I made them. That's how it be sometimes. And that is our Timberwolf habitat all done. I really like the way the viewing house turned out with the glass floor and the wolf etched glass panels. It really adds something nice to this area. And our wolves have plenty of space to roam around. I did accidentally forget to hit record when I popped them into here, but would you believe it? I was green across the board with them too. That's 3 for 3 right now. Seriously, I am on a roll. Although now that I've said something, I'm probably gonna mess up the next one pretty badly. Oh no. Oh no, they're starting a howl.
Gary, quit it. You're gonna start a howl.
I didn't start it.
And now we're never gonna hear the end of it. That's right, guys. Get it all out of your system. Come on. keep on howling. It's like music to my ears, right? Oh, and look, they stopped. Except this one. This one didn't quite get the memo that it's time to quit. She just keeps going. I'm gonna rename her. Her name is going to be Awoo. Timberwolves, or gray wolves, are social animals living and hunting in packs of 2 to 12. A typical pack is composed of an alpha male and an alpha female, the pack leaders, their pups, and several subordinates or juvenile wolves. In general, only the dominant male and female breed to prevent the pack from becoming too large. The alpha female then chooses a den site and gives birth to a litter of about 6 pups, who will reach maturity in 2 to 3 years. If a subordinate wolf feels a strong inclination to breed and his or her attempts to mate are denied by the alpha pair, the subordinate wolf may leave the pack. However, leaving the safety of the group can prove to be a dangerous choice for a lone wolf, who may have to travel hundreds of miles to find new territory and or a mate. One interesting fact is that not all gray wolves are gray. Although they are called gray wolves, they actually range in color from brownish gray to all black to even all white. And I didn't know if you guys noticed in the flyover shot, but I did add Awoo and the alpha male to the front here. I swear, if googly eyes are not in the next game, riots. Absolutely riot. Oh no! My tiger! He died. Oh, it's very sad. I don't even know his name. Anyways, back to the wheel for more fun. Ooh, and more fun we shall have. The Mandrill. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little intimidated. That's a big monkey. And for the theme, we're going to be working with Australia and Arctic. Now you want to give me Arctic. Thank you. I mean, okay, let's see what we can come up with. I kind of want to make a monkey island. Well, like, not really an island, but I also want to use water as the main way to keep them from the guests. Also, I need to remember to add climbing structures for enrichment for these guys as well. Looks like we got a couple of girls and a male in the trade center, which is good. I'm gonna pick these guys up. I may have to just watch the trade center for a few minutes because I need more females. They are happiest in a troop of 5 or more, but we'll do that later. First, I'm going to dig the ditch that I want to use for the moat, that I'm going to use for their barrier. And in hindsight, I should have built the moat walls first and then dug out the ditch from there. But you will see in a minute what I'm talking about. For the moat walls, I'm going to be using the Arctic building wall piece as my base, making sure to place the second piece down just 1 click or 4 meters away, creating a gap in the middle. For the safety fence, I'm going to keep it easy and just use the Australian fence, making sure to angle it down slightly and place it on the edge of the first wall. For the top of the fence, I'm going to use this piece here, the Arctic decorative trellis, and I'm going to use the wall to straighten it out, and then I'm going to line the top with it. Then I'm going to use these rusted metal rods to add some support on either side of the fence that I'm working with right here. And for the very top of the fence, I'm going to use more of these rusted metal rods with the curved piece on the 2 sides and connect it together with another one of the straight rusted rod pieces. And that is our finished moat barrier fence. Before I place the barrier down, I want to add these wooden panels to either side to help block where the terrain is going to leave a bit of a gap between the terrain and the fence. And now that I'm here placing it, you can see that it is much harder to match this very sharp angle that I made for my ditch with these building pieces. So that way they still all line up relatively nicely. And that's what I meant by I should have placed the moat barrier first and then dug out the ditch after that. But we live and we learn. I don't need to make this go all the way around where I'm thinking I want my moat to be either. This is just mostly going to be where the humans, guests, are going to be standing looking at our big monkeys. So this will be our finished moat. This will be the side where the guests can stand and look into the habitat, and the other side will have rocks. And here it is with water in it. And speaking of rocks, I'm going to be using one of my favorites from the workshop by this creator here. She is a bit piece heavy, but what good build isn't? I'm also going to be closing the gap over here by the guest fence with this really cute rock barrier that I also love. Pretty sure this one was made by a camel, believe it or not. On the other side, I'm going to be placing another one of these rock walls on this side of the habitat. And now I need to add in the guest path. I'm sorry if I jump around a lot. I do have ADHD, okay? My brain is always scattered and always empty. Let me know if you can relate. Do you also jump around when you build, or do you just stick with one thing until it's 100% done and then move on to the next? I really do when I'm filming. I try to, but I do notice the scatterbrainedness kind of kicks in every once in a while. Any hoodle doodle, I am going to select and delete all of these rocks here in the middle because I want to add a big piece of one-way glass here. This will be their sleeping spot and it will make for a wonderful photo spot for our guests, but I don't want them to get too close and bang on the glass, you know, kids nowadays. So I'm going to be using more of these Australian fences to keep the guests away from the glass. I don't want them irritating our friends. For the middle of the habitat, I'm going to be placing this climbing structure. Since it is so big, I want to make sure that I have enough space to put it. I'm going to be using this Indonesian jungle climbing frame that I found on the workshop by this creator here. Climbing structures are probably one of the things that I don't really care to build for myself, and that is why I always use workshop ones, if you're wondering. Now, let's attempt to make an indoor area for our mandrill and an indoor viewing area for our guests. And to block this out, I'm going to be just using the Australian building grid pieces. I'm also going to start with a full back wall here, and then I'm going to be placing 2 big window holes for the guests so that way they could get a nice view of them hanging out in their inside area when it's a hot day. And also make sure that you use one-way glass here. Gotta respect their privacy. I'm going to also use the Arctic flooring to line the floor with here. And now I'm going to line this whole building with these river murals. I really hope we get some more in Planet Zoo 2. I love how easy they are to decorate walls with. More murals, maybe some flex colored ones, or both. Yeah, I would be okay with both of those options. For this inside area, I'm going to be placing another climbing structure that I found off the workshop by this creator here. Way more talented than I. And now I'm going to be placing their sleeping spot over in the viewing window area over here. It's kind of covered. They can sleep over here. I think it's going to be okay. I wanted to fill in the inside area with bedding too to give more of a scattered bedding look, but these ones are too compact for me, and like I said, I wanted more of a scattered look along the floor. So this is not giving me the look that I want. I also decided that the mandrill would not like walking around on this man-made floor all the time, so it was time to remove it. Instead, I'm just going to color the terrain into a heavy soil and scatter some of these piles of leaf litter all around to give it more of a little something. And finally, I'm going to build up this wall so that way when I place the roof, it doesn't clip into our climbing structures. Now that the monkey's inside area is done, it's time to work on the other monkey's inside area. And by monkey, I mean the guests. I'm going to continue with the Australian pieces to shell out another building, and in this one I will use the Arctic floor. I don't think the guests will appreciate walking on dirt near as much as our mandrill friends. Inside this area for the education, I'm going to be using this pre-made education board by this creator here, and then on the other side I'm going to be placing a custom habitat board. The link to the mod on Nexus will be in the description box if you also want to download these custom boards. I also placed some kids education and stuff and a few benches, and now we're ready to roof. Just going to slot in the Australian roof pieces. Nothing too complicated. And this is what our habitat is looking like so far. And after some modest rock work, and finally our jungle foliage glow up. What do you think? Outdid myself, didn't I? Now while our manager manages our mandrills in quarantine, I am going to place some habitat items down. But first, let's doctor up this area just a little bit more. Starting with another pre-made workshop habitat board. I don't know why there isn't a golden mandrill statue. I need golden animal statues for every species in the next game. It's a need, not a want, Frontier. Going to sprinkle in various pieces of foliage, and to make a bit of a planter box, I'm going to line this area with rocks, and then just fill it in with more shrubbery and stuff. Much better. Inside the habitat, I'm going to be placing toys for enrichment and various feeders to keep them nice and happy. And just in time, because there they are, our 2 cute little ladies and our nice big blue-tushed boy. I love the way this turned out. I'm not gonna lie, I was very apprehensive about starting this build. Don't get me wrong, I love monkeys, but since I'm not very excited about making climbing structures, they're usually left out in my zoos. So I am pretty grateful for the wheel because this wouldn't have happened without the challenge of doing everything that the wheel commands. The workshop helped and I think it turned out pretty good. Remember, the wheel for the animals and the themes are linked below, and if you have been using the wheel, how's it been going for you? And if you haven't, are you gonna? Male mandrills are the world's largest, most colorful monkey species, famous for the vibrant blue and red skin on their face and their bum-bums, which brightens when they're excited, by the way. And they are the only mammals with blue pigment in their skin, making them stand out beautifully in a crowd. Though they are the largest of all monkeys, they are quite shy and reclusive. They are the gentle giants of the monkey kingdom. Sometimes they shake their head and grin to show their enormous canine teeth, which can be over 5 centimeters or 2 inches long. They may appear scary to us, but it's usually a friendly gesture within the mandrill community. Mandrills are excellent climbers, choosing a different treetop each evening to tuck themselves in for sleep. And their cheeks have built-in pouches that they use to store snacks for later. Who wouldn't want a built-in snack stash? Like hamsters. Time to spin the wheel again and see what we get. The Markhor! Oh, the goat has arrived. Nice. And for our themes, we are going to be building with Indonesia and New World. Not really native to Indonesia, but I do like New World. New World works for me. New World works for everything. I doubt I'm going to be building too much man-made structures anyway, so it's okay. But first, time to feed the masses. I think it's time we add yet another food and drink stop for our guests. They're constantly whining that they want more sustenance to shove in their face holes, so I'm going to be using more of these food trucks because I am obsessed with them. And what goes in the face hole must come out the bum hole, so I think I should also add a toilet here. Then I'm going to spend a bit of time adding a whole bunch of foliage to the back of these trucks. That'll help break it up visually with anything that I plan to place in the back of the trucks later. Like another habitat potentially? Who knows? Just lots and lots of big trees, bushy flowers, and I'm going to finish it off with some rocks that'll help break up the path from the planter visually. None of this is actually needed, but it helps a lot. And there we go! A small pit stop complete with balloons is done. For the Markhor, I really want to try and build using this hill that is already here, and I want to use as little to no terraforming as possible. The fence is going to be really easy to build. The base and main part of the fence is just going to be the New World fence that's already been built for us. And on top of that, I'm going to be putting in one of the Indonesian stained timber beams, which is a flex colored piece, so I'm going to be coloring it into more of a wood color to better match the New World theme. And that's it! Now I'm going to hug the path as tight as I can with this new fence. Now I know what you're thinking, Panda, this little fence isn't going to be enough for our spring-loaded Markhor. No. I'm definitely going to need a double fence here on this one. Don't worry, I hear you. And I'm going to be using mesh, but to frame out the mesh, this time I'm going to be using the Indonesian mossy stone trim pieces. After placing one down, I now have a piece to anchor my mesh to, and after the mesh is down, now I can frame the whole piece minus one side with the trim pieces. Before I line the second barrier up, I'm going to fill in the space in between with some flowers so that way I have a better idea of where I want the barrier to go. The area right before the hill is a little tight, so I want to be able to use as much space as possible for our animals. And now that the flowers are in, I'm going to push this second barrier as close to the flowers as possible, just following along the same path as the first barrier. And this is what it's looking like so far. Using the flex colored rock palette that I found on the workshop by this creator here, I have pulled out the ice, tundra, and snow rocks to use into this habitat. And using these large flat ones, I'm going to make some ledges into this hill that our Markhor can climb up. And right here, I'm going to twist and turn several of our rocks in an attempt to make a bit of a staircase for them. But if I know my Markhor, they're just going to leap up here from the ground level and ignore all this hard work that I'm doing for them. That's okay. We'll pretend it's for the keepers. Now I'm going to use this smaller snow rock to sink into the first layer of rock to make it look like the snow has been caught in the small divots and crevices of the rocks. It's a nice touch and will help sell the illusion in your snow habitats. I suppose you could also do this with desert rocks in a very dry habitat, using the flex rocks for more of a sand color as well. Now I'm going to painfully hand place every single one of these rocks because I like torturing myself. And because I don't want to just copy and paste the layer below and bring it up. I do want it to be a bit different. I'm also going to hand place and rotate all of the back wall rock pieces as well. This is what it's like building on a sculpted map. A lot of hand placing everything so that way it matches the curvature of what you're working with. But that's okay. I've been enjoying the challenge of building on this map I was given as opposed to just building flat. What do you guys prefer to build on? Sculpted or flat maps? Do you prefer to make your own terrain? I'm really bad about that. That's why I'm kind of enjoying the sculpted right now. Now I don't want to ignore the Indonesian building theme, so since it is a flex color, I'm going to actually use it for their sleepy house for the Markhor, and I'm going to recolor it into more of a gray and dark gray to help match the rocks that are already in their habitats. I've had several people ask me how to put barriers in the doorways, and this is how you do it. First, I place the door building piece that I'm going to be using, and then using the null barrier, I place a panel right along the open door piece. I like to shrink it so it's about this size here as well. And now you just select your door and slot it into place, nice and clean. To help fill in the gap all around the door for this particular build, I'm going to be using some rocks. They're nice and gray, just like our build, and work very well for the Markhor theme. Don't forget to pull a copy of them through the wall to the other side as well with Control X, and that will duplicate your selection and put you in advanced movement mode, making this very seamless and easy to do. Now I'm just going to fill in the box with some more walls and some window pieces by the path so the guests can peep into our Markhor sleeping in their little house. I'm going to add some bedding in here too, and color the terrain paint with heavy soil since this will be a high traffic area for them. Then I'm going to fill in this whole habitat with snow, color in some dirt to break it up a bit, and finish off this build with a simple roof. While our Markhor are getting checked out by our team of vets, I'm going to start placing in our habitat enrichment items. I did want to start by placing this nice climbable mountain for them, but as you can see, it flattens way too much of the terrain for my liking. So they are just going to have to be enriched by the climbing my makeshift walls and ledges have given them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish off this habitat with the usual suspects of food and water and toys. And then I dot in a few foliage items, not much. I read that these goats are pretty destructive and usually eat plants before they even have a chance to take root. Next time you visit a Markhor habitat, tell me, do they have a lot of foliage in and around their habitat? Or are they indeed just weed whackers with horns? Vet check's done, it's time to place our Markhor Hydra in their new habitat. Isn't she just a thing of beauty? Oh man, we were so close. Look how close we were to getting all green. Dang it, I broke my streak. This habitat turned out exactly how I wanted it to. It's not too big, it's not too small, it is just perfect for our new Markhor family. And hopefully soon, we'll be seeing little babies running around on this hillside. Placing every single rock was tedious and time-consuming, but oh so well worth it. In the end, with shots like these, just look how happy they seem. Markhor are indeed large goat boys. The males have very large corkscrew horns that can grow up to 160 centimeters or 60 inches in length. And that is wild. That must be so heavy. You imagine the headache? While Markhor use them in defense against predators, they will also use them against other males when fighting for a mate. They'll fight each other by lunging and locking horns and even pushing each other off balance on the Rocky Mountains. Just yeet their competition right over the edge. Markhors do not like to be in deep snow or cold temperatures. They prefer to be in dry terrains. Wait, why did I make their habitat snowy? I thought these guys were in the tundra category. Whoopsie. They are known to be one of the smelliest goat species. It's thought that their smell might help them repel predators and mark their territory. And the word Markhor is derived from two Persian words, mar, which means snake, and khor, which means eater. So in folklore, it is believed that they are able to kill snakes by using their horns, and then they eat them. Although, there's no evidence of this actually being true. It is more likely that the Markhor have the ability to kill snakes with their strong hooves by just stomping on them, and that their horns actually resemble a snake due to their features. Aw, aren't those babies just the cutest? Can we put them in a petting zoo? It doesn't even have to be open to the public. Just let me pet them. Back to our wheel for another spin. Let's see what we're working with next. The Eastern Blue-tongued Lizard. Do you know why their tongue is blue? I know, and I'll tell you after this build. Just wondering if you know. And our themes are going to be Indian and Oceania. I'm going to be placing them here by our bistro's bathrooms. I'm going to start out with just a basic exhibit box and throw our new friends in here and set the temperature and enrichment items. I do have these guys fully researched thanks to our reptile-only zoo, so I'm going to be able to set these little guys up from the get-go. Then using the Oceania building themes, I'm going to frame out the box and the area that I'm going to be making a bit of an expanded portion to our exhibit to. And since I am not playing with any building mods, I need to get creative when it comes to the ground, and to do that, I'm going to have to branch out of our building themes and grab some plaster. The floor piece is what I want. I'm going to slot that in next to our existing exhibit, and because it is a flex color piece, I'm going to be trying my best to color match it to the sand. I mean, I don't think it looks too bad. Next, to continue to sell the illusion of sand, I'm going to be using several of the smaller desert rocks to clutter up the ground a bit and try my best to make it look like the exhibit right next to it. I'm also going to be using various plants that look like they're in the box the game decorated for us. It's way easier to do this with the exhibit prop mod off the Nexus site. If you want something that'll match the existing style perfectly, that mod is for you. But as you can see, we can still achieve the basic idea of an expanded exhibit just by using the in-game pieces. So don't you fret, console players, you can do this too. Don't forget to add some glass to your faux side, and in the back I'm going to be placing a light, and I'm going to change the bulb to blue to indicate that maybe this is the night side of the exhibit and the other side is the day side. Now while I sit here and try and figure out the roof, don't you worry, I do know that blue and red lights are not needed for reptiles and can actually be dangerous by messing up their natural circadian rhythm for these cold-blooded cuties, leaving them in a state of stress. So don't at me, okay? I just like doing it visually in the game. Roof and overhang is looking pretty good. I am just going to add a support pillar here and then some education to finish it off. And there we go. What do you guys think, eh? Doesn't it just make you want to get in there and learn all about lizards? Anyone? No? No takers, eh? Oh well. The first thing to note is that in nature, not everything looks the same to everyone. Birds, reptiles, and many invertebrates see frequencies of light invisible to us, such as UV. The blue tongue reflects that UV, and therefore looks even more bright and shocking to these animals than it does to us, and thus makes the tongue a great warning signal to predators. When kept as pets, they are super easy to hand feed. But when a blue-tongued lizard gets used to associating your hands with lunch, you might find that they become a little hard to handle. Finger biting is very common in these situations, and although they're not poisonous, they do have incredible draw strength and can latch on really hard. You know, my bearded dragon tries to bite my fingers sometimes too. Something about my shiny nail polish just seems to set him off. I don't know. That and the one brain cell bouncing around in there doesn't always seem to be firing properly. And let's spin again. Come on, we're on a roll. Give me something good. The red ruffed lemur. Oh no, more monkeys. Yay. I know exactly where I'm gonna put these little troublemakers. And for themes, I'm rolling with Europe and classic, both excellent building pieces. So this should be relatively painless for me. Critically endangered. Oh, don't you worry. Old Panda here will let you get your freak on, guys. And guests can interact. I don't think I want the guests to interact. Guests can look from afar with the medium amount of effort I'm about to put into this, okay? I want this to connect with our Mandrill build, but first I'm going to have to move some stuff around in here. I'm gonna move the kiddo stuff over here to this wall over in the back. And this bench, I'm gonna have to get that out of here. Now stepping outside, I'm going to work on the shell. I don't need to mirror the mandrill habitat because they just don't need that kind of space. As it is, this is already going to be way bigger than they will need, and if I roll any other lemur species, they might just get thrown in here too. I'm also going to be using these large openings here for windows so the guests will be able to see inside of their inside area. And then this white building here will be actually where the guests can enter and see into the habitat. After the path is in, I'm going to cover it with the Arctic flooring, but of course sculpted map, we are kind of on an incline here, so I think I'm just going to make it look like there are steps that lead up to the window. Inside the lemur house, I'm going to be placing down some of these base game pre-built climbing structures all around here, wherever they'll seem to fit. Some of these are just way too big, so I'm going to be sticking with the smaller ones for now. I'm also going to be adding some enrichment to encourage them to come in here for the guests' viewing pleasure. I also need to make sure that I add a staff facility to the back so the keepers can enter and exit this habitat with ease. And after placing another keeper hut and staff room, I'm going to join all this up with pathing. Don't we just love the logo-filled staff paths? They're just great, am I right? I can hear the crickets of no one agreeing with me. I'm going to make another moat. And we're going to make it right this time. If there's one thing monkeys hate, it's water. Like trying to get a teenage boy to take a shower. For the base, I'm going to be using the painted brick wall pieces, placing one down and then another 4 meters away to create a nice gap between the two. For the safety fence, I'm going to be using this European cast iron fence tilted ever so slightly and placed on the edge. I guess it's in case if a monkey does fall in the water, I would encourage them to get back up on their side and not the guest's side. And for the very top, I did dance around the idea of using this planter. It does look pretty cute up here. It's a unique piece to use, and I really think that it worked out wonderfully for this moat fence that I was making. I should really go back in and fill it with flowers now that I'm thinking about it. And that's that! Moat fence is ready to be installed. I'm going to sink this into the ground and just start laying it out where I want the guests to stand. It doesn't have to spread over like a really large distance, just a big enough area for where you want your guests to congregate. The rest of the barrier can be made of rocks if you want. Don't overcomplicate this, okay? It doesn't have to be stressful, I promise. After it's in place where you want it, use the push terrain tool and the flatten to surface terrain tools to quickly carve out your water area. And I'm going to be using more of these painted brick pieces. These are non-grid pieces, so that way I can freely place them, and I'm going to make a lip all the way around the moat to help hide the edges where the terrain doesn't quite meet all the way up with the walls without clipping through our moat. And pretty soon, it'll look something like this. Now I'm going to place the path, and let me know if anybody else has this problem. My two paths that are seemingly on the same playing field will not connect. Why? Why are paths in this game like this? To quickly finish off the back barrier wall and any gaps around the moat, I'm going to be using this rock wall set that I found on the workshop by this creator here. I like to use these flat rocks because they add a seamless barrier without the bulk that the boulders tend to leave behind. And this is the full footprint of our red ruffed lemur habitat, and any other lemur that I might happen to roll. Right in the middle of this habitat, I'm going to be adding some monkey houses that I have used before, and another just one of the base game pre-built ones to better fill in this area with stuff for our lemurs to do, along with a few more enrichment items and a water tap, although I suppose they could just drink out of the moat. Then I'm going to go off on a bit of a side mission here and start roofing everything. I'm using the slate roof pieces for the lemur house first, just using the basic pieces to fill in this roof. When you build on the grid and use basic rectangles, it really makes roofing super easy. And let's face it, roofing is half the battle when it comes to creative building. I'm going to then add a nice big habitat board with some custom information on it for our red ruffed lemurs and a donation bin before finalizing the roof on this build as well. I really love the color of these copper roof pieces and decided that they would look really nice with the white of the building here. So first I'm going to choose the shape for my roof, and I really like the way that this is looking right now. Then I'm going to use some of these trim pieces where the two different roof pieces meet up, fill in the wall with the right shapes, and then we're also going to create a bit of an overhang that the grid just doesn't give us. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to select a row of my roof pieces, split them from the group, and then I'm going to use Control X to duplicate these roof pieces and put myself in advanced movement so they're still on the same level. And I'm just going to pull it forward just a little bit. Also make sure you shift it up and down just to prevent any Zed fighting. And now you should have a nice overhang on your roof. Let's finish off this guest house with a sign for our red ruffed lemur friends. For foliage, I'm starting off with some lilies in the water, some of my favorite pieces. Tons of palms in the back, just make sure you turn your climbing off on those trees so they can't escape. And honestly, just some of every single plant that I can find. These guys are native to some of the most lush places, so I want to add in a lot without clogging up our viewing areas. Bushes, shrubs, trees, more bushes. I even add some leaves to the water to make it all feel more real. I just wish that there was a tropical version of buffalo grass. But sadly there's not. Oh well, I'm just going to make do with the long grass terrain brush tool. Let's adopt a bunch of these guys and add them in here. Or not. There are so many boys. Like, so many. Man, the trade center is a total sausage party today. I guess that's just how it is sometimes. That's okay though. I did manage to find a few good girls on there. Good girls, who am I kidding? I'll take bad girls, mediocre girls, half dead girls. I just want some ladies in here, please. And here they come, one at a time. They're slowly being thrown in here. And how did I do? Oh my god, look at that. Again, this close. So close. Oh man, I'm just too good. I'm just too good. Oh no! Awu is gonna die! Not Awu! She was the best girl who didn't know when to shut up. And now the silence is deafening and I miss your Awus already. Anywho, back to the lemurs. I love these colored signs. I really need to do these more often for sure. Lemur house turned out really good. I don't normally build indoor and outdoor viewing areas, so I'm always happy with myself when I manage to pull it off, and to pull it off well. This moat turned out so good. I definitely deserve head pats for that one. This habitat is so green. It's filled with lots of fun things for our lemurs to play and explore with. It has everything mischievous little monkeys could ever want and more. I can't wait to catch some babies just running up and down these climbing structures later. The red ruffed lemur is one of the largest of lemurs, and they can weigh as much as a large house cat. At the other end of the spectrum though, lemurs are known for their little tiny heads. Of all the primates, animals known for their relatively large brains, lemurs have the smallest. In some studies, red ruffed lemurs have been assessed for their abilities to do simple arithmetic. Don't be fooled though, it is simple arithmetic, not this common core crap they have our kids learning. As fruit eaters, they swallow a lot of seeds, and these seeds come out the other end more or less intact. In fact, some may come out even better conditioned to germinate than when they went in. Lemur scat plays a critical role in the regeneration of degraded forests by spreading seeds from plants. If we humans as a species could just step back for a moment, ecosystem engineers like the red ruffed lemur would be more than happy to do our tree planting for us. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sad about Awu. But the wheel must continue to spin. Wolverine! Oh, my favorite X-Men. Oh yes, I love me a short, angry, hairy king. But seriously, they're so cute. And for our building themes, this time the wheel says conservation and fiesta. Conservation is one of my favorite packs. The building pieces are top tier, chef's kiss. And it is a must-have pack for backstaging areas. As you can see, I'm going to be putting them back behind the bistro. To keep the guests from jumping down there, I'm going to be lining the patio with the fiesta fence. It's kinda yellow, like a certain mutant spandex. To make sure Logan can't jump out of his habitat, I'm going to be making a safety fence out of these conservation gutter pipes. We're unconventional around here, and to stay in the realm of unconventionalism, I'm going to be filling the middle in with the conservation trellis wall pieces. See? So cute! Now merge these all in a group and move it into place. Now look at that! We have our yellow, and we have our blue. Logan's home is almost ready. Well, I mean, not really. I still have a little bit to do, but I'm liking it so far. For the back wall, I'm going to be putting down this snow and tundra rock wall piece, and I'm going to be entering into the group and using multi-select for several of these rocks, so that way I can manipulate this wall into a different shape. Sometimes y'all don't need a straight wall, and that's okay, but you can still use these rock formations that are on the workshop. Just select different parts of it and move it into the shape that you want or need. For the habitat gate in this little hidey house, I'm going to be using the conservation pieces. Again, I love these building pieces. This doesn't need to be very big. I think I'm going to be just placing Logan in here all by his lonesome for right now. He might get the girl later. You never know. But the Wolverines actually have one of those dens in the habitat tab, so more than likely he's not even going to use this little house. Now it is time for a nice glow up transition. Here is our before and after. Much better for our solitary king that is going to be placed in here. And here he is! Welcome home, bub. I need to rename him to Logan. And again, I did really good with my terrain guesswork for the paints. Here is our quick little flyover of our completed Wolverine habitat. It gives the guest a great view of our little brooding king, and it is the perfect size for him. And who knows, maybe he'll have a little family in there one day. Maybe. I might have to get a honey badger, name it Deadpool, and stick it in there just to torment him. Just for funsies. And no, my fun facts will not involve a shirtless Hugh Jackman. Sorry. Trust me, I'm just as disappointed as you are. Real Wolverines are still pretty vicious. They are known for their tenacity and fierceness beyond their size, like a Pomeranian. They have battled grizzly bears, bull mooses, wolves, and they've won. Considering they weigh about 30 to 50 pounds, that's pretty darn impressive. Wolverines are predators and scavengers. They'll eat whatever they can. They would love to eat a whole moose or a deer for that matter if they could. Their scientific name is gulo, which comes from Latin word for glutton. They're large, stocky animals that look like small bears, but they're actually the largest member of the weasel family. Oh, you smell that? I sense the end of the video is coming. Give me something good, wheel. Oh, the eastern brown snake. Well, we can't end on an exhibit animal. That's not exciting. We love our reptiles though, don't worry. New World and Rustic. I feel like I've done that. Have I done that? Probably. Well, let's blow through this and spin again, shall we? I'm going to place them here by our striped hyenas. And since there is a window here, I won't be making an extended exhibit this time. I'm going to be using the 3D facade on all the windows except the one I want the guests to view our snakes from. And again, these guys are fully researched, so they will get the benefit from all of the enrichment goodies. I'm going to quickly line the box with some New World building grid pieces, and then I'm going to be using the New World architecture beams to give the build a little bit more accents to the wood in the corners and along the glass openings. And then for the roof, I am just going to be placing one of these glass modern roof toppers to finish it off. Last but not least, I'm going to be adding our education and our donation bins. And there we go! Quick and simple build for our eastern brown snake, which is the world's second most venomous land snake, native to Australia. Just another reason never to go down under. The adult eastern brown snake is variable in color. The upper side of the snake can range from true to the name brown to paler, russet, olive, orange, gray, or near black. I mean, I got a white one. When the snake takes its threat seriously, it squares up, raising its head and more than a third of its total body length off the ground. It curves its body, not flattening its head like a lot of other snakes do, and faces its threat with its mouth open. Being long and tall this way, they're able to hit people well above the knee, avoiding snake boots and making them very dangerous to catch. Leave the danger noodles alone, people. Just back away slowly, okay? Alright, Wheel. This is it. I need something good, something monumental to end the video with. Holy Taco Bell, Batman! Giant pandas! Yes! Oh, I'm so excited! My soul animal! Cuddly, lazy, clumsy, all the things I am. And for the themes, come on, Wheel, don't screw me now. You can't. Classic? Okay, I can do an East Asian. Oh, it's about to go down. Now, working with the terrain, this is the spot that I want to build on. So this is our before shots. You are not ready for this. And here's our after. I know. It's amazing, right? How did I do this? Well, I'm glad you asked. The first thing that I had to battle with was the path. Always try and build your path and then your habitat around that, because it usually doesn't work the other way around. I wanted to use these bridge pieces as our walkway, so first I placed the bridge pieces down to give me an idea of how steep the slope needs to be for our paths. I wanted to use just the nice sloped ramp for our path and not the stairs, but that just didn't angle sharply enough to work with the bridge pieces, so I did end up using stairs instead. And once the stairs were placed, I was able to then use advanced movement to hide the stairs within the bridge. At the end of the path is where I'm going to start the build for the panda's sleeping spot and premium viewing opportunities for the guests. And of course, I'm going fully with the East Asian pieces. These are the dry stone wall building pieces, and yes, I'm going to make another pagoda. I don't know why pandas and pagodas, it just always seemed to make sense to me. It's my favoriteest thing to build, probably because it's easy. Also, I was planning on releasing a full speed build of this habitat. This is just the short and dirty version of it. Now that the bottom layer of the shell is done, I'm going to be using the East Asian fence to keep the guests from jumping down there, although I would gladly hop the fence and take the fall damage to cuddle with some pandas. Bucket list that will never happen would be to cuddle a baby panda. I swear I would cry. Now down here, I want to add their bedding, but I don't want the bedding to manipulate the terrain under it. So first I'm going to place an oval of pathing, and then I'm going to place the bedding on top of the path, and it shouldn't push the terrain down at all. Then I just need to delete the path, and voila! Bedding on a slope. I tried to place down some education, and that revealed to me that there's no power out here. So I need to place another solar panel somewhere around here. And after that issue was fixed, I'm going to place a custom donation bin and an educator talk point, some benches for our guests, and a couple of trash cans to deter people from throwing their garbage at our wonderful little bears. Then it is time to start on the roof and the tower portion of this build. Again, since I am on the grid, this is very easy to snap all together, and it builds up very quickly. Then I add lots of trimming and decorative windows, which really brought the whole build to life in my opinion. Look how good that looks! And now with the rock barrier in place, I did forget to record that part, but I just did the same tactic that I did with the Wolverine, where I just took one of those straight walls, broke it apart to create my own barrier. Now I'm going to start manipulating the terrain just a little bit so that way I can add in the water feature that I wanted to add here with some waterfalls. I need to make a bowl with the terrain to keep the water in, and then build the illusion with the waterfall boxes that these two water pools are actually connected. And this is what our waterfalls look like in play mode, not sped up at all. And to cover up the waterfall boxes, I'm going to use my tried and true rocks. Love me some rocks. They help hide the little imperfections of the build. Got a weird spot? Just stick a rock on it and forget it. I'm also going to be using various rock ridge formations from the workshop by this creator here. Their rock formations are perfect and fill up a habitat space so nicely. I really like the way that it ended up looking around the waterfall. And lastly, I'm going to spend some time filling in the waterfall with some of these splash effects. And of course, it's going to start raining right when I was going to show you the final look. Then it is time to add in some foliage, starting with a few hidden reeds in and around the water area. Not too much, just a few poking through. And then a few cherry blossoms that are just needed within the panda build. And tons of bamboo all around the back walls for some extra snacking. Who doesn't love a good snack? Then I'm going to add in some buffalo grass and a few fields of flowers and some shrubbery. Trying not to go too overboard here. Our pandas are now done in quarantine and ready to enter their habitat. And here they are! Oh, I love all of them so much. Look how cute! Oh, and again, I did very well with the terrain. Just a bit too much long grass and not enough short grass. I need a keeper with a lawnmower over here. I am so incredibly proud of this build. The path was something that I would never do, so it was so cool to see an idea I had actually come to life in this game. I really like this guest education stop spot, complete with our golden statues of our lovely pandas, of course. The view down into their cuddle puddle is going to make for some wonderful picture opportunities for everybody. A panda in their natural habitat, sleeping. Who wouldn't want that gig? The rock wall and foliage really help bring it all together. Don't be afraid of foliage and rocks. They are your friends, I promise. This waterfall turned out really well. Ideally, I wanted a stream running more through the habitat, but since the habitat was on such a hill, it just made it so difficult to do. I'm hoping for a better water tool in Planet Zoo 2. And how could you just not love this pagoda? I am obsessed with this build. I love it so much. Again, I'm planning on making a longer speed build of this habitat. I have all the footage except the rock wall being placed. So just let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see. I also have extended footage of almost all of my builds. If you want to see something specifically, let me know. Panda diets are 99% bamboo. On average, they eat up to 50 pounds of fresh bamboo leaves, stems, and shoots daily. And because of all that fiber-dense material, they poop almost the same amount every day too. You might be wondering, what's the other 1% of their diet? Well, it's far more infrequent, but they might eat grass, fruits, insects, and even eggs. In addition to sand and soil. Their brains aren't very big. Interestingly, giant pandas have lost the ability to taste protein because of their plant-based diets. These bears are chewing machines. A panda's skull and jaws, chewing muscles, and teeth are adapted for crushing and chewing bamboo. And scientists can't agree why they have black and white coats. Pandas don't have any natural predators, so it might not be for camouflage. On the other hand, they also don't hunt, so their markings probably aren't to confuse prey either. Maybe their fur pattern is an invite during breeding season, or a warning for other bears to stay away. Despite spending most of their day resting, sleeping, and eating, some giant pandas enjoy climbing trees and hanging out among the high branches. Ticking off to year 50, we are flourishing. The zoo is chugging away, just about 5 stars across the whole board. Tickets are sitting at $65 dues per guest, and with over 4,000 guests per year, we are very green in our profits. Our vets have killed it in the research department, with every single new species being 100% completely researched. Our guests are green, but there are definitely some needs that need to be addressed sooner rather than later. As always, they need more food, water, maybe some Red Bulls. I always seem to struggle with education, even though I have multiple talking points and education boards plastered on all of my habitats. I don't know, man. I just think the guests are dumb. And our Siberian tiger continues to top the charts as our most appealing habitat species, with our blue tongue lizard being our more appealing exhibit species. Shall we take a final flyover? Let's go. I can't believe we are closing the chapter on another 25 years of this zoo. I love making these types of videos, so I hope y'all are getting bored. The wheel gave us a few challenges this time with those building themes, but we pushed through and made something that we should be proud of. Some of those builds I used pieces that I normally wouldn't have even reached for. Challenging myself to use only a couple themes really helps me branch out of my comfort zone and use and find pieces that I normally would have completely forgotten about. And as always, the linky to the animal wheel and the themes are in the description box, along with the Nexus mod for the custom habitat boards, so you can go ahead and grab those up for yourself if you want to. Make your own 100-year zoo. Challenge yourself. I dare you to do this. Our zoo is turning out so good. I think the building on the sculpted map was really the way to go. It has been challenging, but it's oh so rewarding in the end. I'm so excited for the next 25 years and to see where this zoo will go. What was your favorite build? Mine, of course, is going to have to be my baby pandas. I'm so proud of it. To the point where I'm considering on making my first habitat speed build with the footage that I have, which I've never done before. And oh boy, do I have a lot of footage. If you guys were ever curious, the folder that contains all the clips for just this video alone is 77 gigabytes. I don't know, it seems like a lot to me. It seems like I might need to branch off into getting maybe another hard drive for my computer soon. And good for you for making it to the end. Now you can help me. Another big project that I want to work on now that Planet Zoo is done receiving updates is a modded only zoo. You heard that right, mods. So in the comments section of this video, get your votes in now. I'm going to be making another wheel, and I want to try and make it another 100-year zoo, so obviously this is going to be in Sandbox mode since it will be heavily modded. And I need from y'all at least 40 to 50 different species to download. There are so many mods out there, and that's why I need your help. I don't want to clog up my mod folder by just downloading a ton of them willy-nilly. So sound off. Let me know which modded animals you would like to see added to the wheel, and maybe your animal will get chosen. Who knows what the wheel has in mind for us? Please help me, because there are way too many to pick from. And if you want any of them to have a certain name, just let me know that too. I'll be compiling all of your comments from this video, so that way I can keep track of everything. Roll up your sleeves, Manager Bison, because we got some work to do. Stay tuned for the time-lapse of our zoo growing during these last 25 years. I love the time-lapses. I think they're kind of cool. Thank you so much for your patience while I was away. I really do appreciate it. You guys are amazing, beautiful, lovely. I can't say it enough how much I appreciate all of your warm support. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can hang out again, and I will see you on the next build. Bye! And yes, Holy Taco Bell Batman is something that I say often, and my kids roll their eyes and die a little inside every single time. That's why I do it.